Welcome back, you guys. Oh my gosh, it is freezing out. I know I live in Southern California, but it's currently like 37 degrees. So, yeah, we're gonna put this on. Now this, way better. All right, guys, we're driving now. Beanie and I was getting a little hot. Hold on. I don't know if you guys can see this, but we need to get some gas. We are currently running low. Then we'll be able to go in top 5 drawbacks of owning an Aston Martin. Where else to go but Costco? You guys can flame me in the comments, but I mean the Costco gas is just top tier. Look at this. Hold on. Just take a look at what I'm seeing right now on the dash. No, that's not a check engine light. That says ice warning. Let's go get some gas. I'll see you guys at the gas station. Gas cap. Oh, beautiful. Alright guys, so let's start off with the first drawback is there's got to be maintenance costs. I know you guys were probably assuming this, but I wanted to go into a little bit greater depth about it and just my experience with it. Just an oil change is over $500 in this car. Per the owner's manual for service, you have to do it either once a year or every 10,000 miles, whichever comes first. However, that's still a 500 to 700, however much you can get it done for. The reason why it's so expensive is because this holds 11 quarts of oil because it's a dry sump system. What you have to do is there's 3 drain plugs. There's not just one. There's 3 drain plugs that you need to get that you need to take off to actually drain the oil because it's a dry sump system. And basically what that means is just that the oil has to get pumped through a separate sump that's not on the bottom of the engine or near close to the engine. It gets pumped to kind of like a separate reservoir and then gets pumped back into the engine. Now the second thing, and the reason why and the purpose of having a dry sump is that it takes a lot more to like when you go around turns, it doesn't like distribute the oil like differently or unevenly. So the reason why like BMWs have a lot of trouble with oil starvation, I'm just talking like a, you know, something like an N54. The oil gets dispersed to the middle pistons, great, like 2, 3, 4, and 5, but 1 and 6 get left hanging sometimes, or maybe it's just the 6th or the one furthest to the front. Wherever the oil gets is a little bit harder to pump to, and that's why you have a lot of misfires or throwing a rod or something like that. But maintenance cost wise, it is, yeah, it's expensive. The other thing, keep in mind, this doesn't take just regular 5W20 oil. This car takes 10W60, so very thick. A lot of maybe some higher end European cars take it, obviously British cars, but that's kind of why it's so expensive, because 1, the type of oil, and 2, how much you need of it. So that's got to be the first point. Second drawback of this car, now I watched a couple videos on this to make sure I wasn't like repeating the same thing that other people were saying, but I would say the second drawback honestly is the attention and what comes with the attention. So not just the attention itself that comes with, you know, driving something like this, but the second thing is kind of the feeling that you get from the attention. That's what I guess I kind of struggled with. So it's really hard not to get your ego boosted in this car or in any exotic car that gets a little bit of attention. Now obviously this isn't like a Lamborghini, Ferrari, but people who know, and it gets quite a bit of attention, whether it's at a gas station or you know, just driving on the road. I've gotten thumbs up or the OK sign. You know, I've gotten things like that, and it's really fun. But it's what I've noticed is, I don't know if it's just me as a person, but it's kind of rough to not let that get to your head. And that ego boost that you get from driving, it's sometimes hard to control. You know, when people will on the freeway, on the highway, will tell me to do a pull, or they'll tell me to, you know, or they'll give me the little kind of hand signal like this to, you know, they want to hear it and everything. And yeah, obviously it's all part of the fun and everything, but this can really quickly go wrong and go the wrong way to your head. And so that's one thing I kind of wanted to point out, and I didn't really hear anyone else pointing out. It's just kind of hard to manage because you want to, especially for someone who enjoys cars for what they are, Like if you were seeking attention or something, you know, and that was your main focus, you'd get something crazy looking, right? You could be getting a Lamborghini, Ferrari. These are a little bit more tame. They get nowhere near as much attention, but it still comes with its own, you know, its own sort of attention, you know, group. I think that, you know, just try, it's really nice to keep your ego in check for, you know, when people ask you about it, or when you, you know, get thumbs up, or when, you know, people point or something like that, because it does happen. So now adding on to that, this doesn't get the type of attention where I feel like you'd get bored or like tired of people coming up to you. You're like, oh, I'm sick of people coming up to me and asking questions. Oh, is this a Lamborghini, Ferrari? I don't really get that too much. It's kind of like that if you know car. So I wouldn't say it's that type of attention where I feel like it would get old for some people. And some people might really enjoy the attention and love talking about it and are extremely extroverted. That they would thrive in that situation. This car doesn't really bring that, but it does bring a set of attention, and it sometimes is hard to kind of control that little feel good fight or flight response that you get, that little adrenaline rush. That's just something I wanted to bring to attention, and it's something that's I think is really important to know, that if you know you get something that's a little bit more expensive or a little bit more maybe like flashy, a little bit more something that's not as common on the road, that you will get some attention. And it's most likely, I'm hoping for you guys, would always be positive, but there's going to be some negative always. Number 3 drawback, hold on, there's some cars going by, has got to be taking your car to an expensive restaurant that has valet parking. So in this case, a place like Mastro's, some place that has to do with luxury and valet parking. So the reason why it's weird is because, you know, you have someone taking care of your car for the next, you know, hours, whether it be 1 hour, 3 hours, 30 minutes. The fact is, you have someone taking care of your car. And also, as you guys know, we probably all heard horror stories of, you know, something happening with the, you know, valet having an accident, or curbing it, or accidentally dinging your door, or even joyriding. And that's kind of part of the reason why a lot of people, they don't like, you know, valet, or they'll just choose to park it themselves. But with places like Mastro's or something like that, to where it's valet only, you know, it's a little bit difficult. That's kind of how I feel. I don't mind valet typically, just it is a little nerve-wracking. You kind of have to keep it in the back of your head that, you know, these people are just, you know, doing their jobs. They've driven cars like these before, but still, it just makes anyone nervous with all the horror stories. Lastly, it's got to be number 5, last but not least, gas mileage. It is horrific. If I'm cruising on the highway, you know, just like a normal pace, you're maybe getting 25 miles to the gallon, which doesn't seem that bad, but that's if the highway's perfectly straight, there's no ups and downs, you know, you're constantly maintaining like 70, 75 miles an hour. You know, it sounds great on paper, which is obviously not the case. You're not going just straight on up and down. The other thing is in the city, right? You have on the highway, okay, fair, 25 miles. In the city, this thing is horrendous. I'm not even kidding you. It might say, you know, 12 miles per gallon in the city. It's not. I turn on my instant MPG, and when I'm accelerating, it's like 5.7 miles a gallon, 8.3 miles a gallon. It's horrific. I'll put in a clip right now, you know, showing like what it is. It's terrible. But I'm gonna show you guys right now what the average is. Just take a look, right? Average of 15.4 mpg. It is terrible gas. That's average throughout the last 50.2 miles. So the reason why it gets that, you know, poor of gas mileage is, one, it's a V8 at the end of the day. Part of the reason why it doesn't get as great as gas mileage is because it's such heavy oil that needs to be pumped throughout, and that also adds to the MPG being so bad. But if you're getting this car for MPG, then, you know, you're getting the wrong car. Obviously, you know, just get a Prius or a, you know, electric car at that rate. But yeah, those are going to be the top 5 downsides of owning Aston Martin. Obviously, there are way more upsides than downsides, but like with everything, it has its pros and cons. And so, you know, if you are looking kind of for an exotic car, looking for an Aston Martin, something like that, this is going to give you at least a decent idea of some kind of flaws or downsides, or just something that, you know, you might not think of at the time of buying it, and then the more you drive it, then the more you realize kind of what's going on. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.